Hello everyone, it's Rosetta here with a Pick-a-Pile Tarot reading on the question, should I stay or should I leave? So you are selecting from 4 piles of cards, and this is the Psychic Tarot deck that I'm reading from today. And one of the unique aspects of the Psychic Tarot deck is that it comes with chakra cards. So it comes with a card representing each of the 7 chakras. And so I've chosen 4 of those cards to anchor each of these piles that I'm reading from. So take a moment and select the pile that speaks to you. And if you've now made your selection, I'm going to go ahead and give a number to each of the piles of cards. So this will be your number, and I will be reading the piles in sequence of these numbers. Okay, so for today's reading, this is going to be pile number 1. This is going to be pile number 2. This is going to be pile number 3. And this will be pile number 4. So if you want to scroll ahead a little bit, I'll be reading 1 first, followed by 2, followed by 3, followed by 4. And as always with these readings, take what applies to you and ignore the rest. My intention while preparing this reading is that it will have something to say, some insight for each person who views the reading. Although not all may apply, my intention is that you will receive the wisdom you need on the question, should I stay or leave? And we are considering this in terms of, should I stay or should I leave a relationship? All right, so this was a pile speaking to the throat chakra, or maybe that just the color blue appealed to you in this reading. So let's see what we have here. Now the Psychic Tarot does not use the traditional, let's see if I can fit all 6 cards in a row here in the space that we have. Let's find out. But it does not use the traditional suits of cards, although there are representations to the traditional tarot suits. Can I fit them all here? Let's see. And what did I do there? I flipped it inadvertently. Okay, let's line them up. Oh my gosh. Okay, we've got one thing that stands out is we've got 3 7s right in a row here. All right, are all the cards visible? Yes, they are. All right, so just in case anybody is curious, in the Psychic Tarot, the black cards are the major cards, so we have 1 of them here. And I'm going to just so this reading does not go on forever, I am not going to key them to the traditional suits of, or the traditional major arcana names for the cards, but just enough to quickly note that blue cards are representing swords. Blue cards are representing swords. Green cards are representing cups. Purple cards are representing wands. And red cards are representing pentacles in this deck. So for anybody who knows a little bit about tarot, those are the correspondences. Other things you might be interested to know about the Psychic Tarot deck is that there are no court cards in the deck. So what we have here are major arcana cards, similar in meaning to what you would have in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And then also you have just the 10 cards of the minor arcana for each of the 4 suits, but with its own unique twist and own unique representations and meanings for this particular deck. Okay, so we're going to read the images as we find them in this deck and not relate them to anything else for the purposes of this reading. Okay, so should I stay or should I go? First card we're looking at is emotional withdrawal. So you're feeling already disconnected from this relationship. You're feeling kind of that you're off on your own, that you don't have the support that you might like to have. You're not receiving the benefits that you might like to have in relationship. And this is a beautiful card that represents someone meditating at the side, at the shore of a body of water. So tides coming in, tides coming out. This is definitely a time where you feel the tide is going out for you and not coming in. So what are you receiving? So you may be coming to this reading thinking, what am I getting out of this? Am I even getting anything out of this? Or is this just a relationship I'm in to test my ability to be patient? What am I receiving? What is the good in all of this? Okay, then we move to the one major arcana card in this particular reading. And so always we're going to look at major cards as something important that is a life lesson often for you in the midst of this situation. And here we have 4, the Authority card. And you may be coming to this reading thinking either that you really have a lifelong difficulty in dealing with authority. Let me move that down a little bit. Can I take this light burst out of the way? Yeah. Okay. So this is either might be you, or it might be the fact that you're feeling the other person in this relationship holds all the power. And because this is a major arcana card, it's leading me to think that this might be a lifelong lesson for you, or a lifelong thing that you're dealing with, is having to deal with authority in ways that is uncomfortable for you. So perhaps you had a harsh authority figure in your youth, or several harsh authority figures in your life until now, and now you're experiencing this again in your love relationship. And so this is just here saying this is likely to be a focal point of what you are going through in this situation. So now we go into, interestingly, 3 7 cards in a row. So 7 can represent knowledge. It can also represent power or abuse of power. So what do we have here? In this particular deck, we're looking at, let's look at the pictures as they are in this deck. So deception and envy. So have you been deceived, or do you believe you have been deceived? So this is likely to be a big part of the issue, part of the problem that you are in the way that you're experiencing it. Let's just go through them quickly, because 777. Patience and planning. Okay, so we're looking, and look, we are getting an echo of these 2 pillars that we had here in this card. Okay, so we're seeing echoes of that image here. So this partner that you have may be exerting a lot of force and power that is not fair or not equitable, or definitely not a feeling of warmth experienced by you where you would like to experience warmth. And maybe what this person is telling you all the way along is, well, just wait a little longer. Have patience with me. This is all going to balance out in the end. So is any of this resonating so far? I hope so. And let's just quickly go back here to this card we started out with, which is also number 8. Sometimes we can think of this as an infinity symbol as well. So have you been waiting for a long time for the tide to come in, and it's not coming in? So you've been listening to what this person has been saying to you, but this has been going on for a really long time. So our last 7 is maybe the crux of the entire situation. So, you know, the question is, should I stay or leave? Should I stay or should I go? And up until this point, this reading is just trying to give you a little bit of clarity on what's happening. So if the other person has been in a position of power, if this is not representing you, but this is representing the other person, then this is the lesson that you can learn from this situation, is to stand your ground and to insist that you receive what you have hoped for and what you have wanted in this relationship. And the way these cards are coming up is leading me to feel that this is not a situation where you once received lots of love and attention and now suddenly something has changed. This is leading me to feel that all the way along, this was a situation where somebody else was in charge. And if you're a woman tapping into this reading, likely to be a harsh father, ended up with harsh partners. This may not be the first one. You know, and where is the love? When will you be loved? So a lot of times when you've got a harsh father figure or a harsh male figure early in life, another thing that can often happen is you can end up choosing a weak partner, hoping that that person will have more emotion, more love for you, and that your needs will be met and there's going to be more equality in the relationship. This is not a case of that. So what is the finality here? Definitely, Spirit wants you to stand up for yourself in a safe way before moving on. But it's looking like moving on is inevitable in order for you to find happiness. Okay, and I love this image because it's got the dead autumn leaves behind you, and it has spring in front of you. It has you walking into the light. So I love this image for you. Okay, so what is the outcome of this stack of cards? I think we have spelled it out. I don't think there's anything to tie up and wrap in a bow. This has just been a reading where it's explaining the situation and see if that resonates with you. It's explaining the situation that causes you to ask the question, should I stay or should I leave? Harshness in the relationship where there should be kindness and caring and love. Perhaps a partner who has been saying to you, just a little bit longer, give me more time, because just in the images in these cards, these two are clearly related. We've got the columns here in both. In the middle of this, oh, just be patient, honey. Just give me a little more time to work things out. Deception and envy. So has this partner been cheating on you? Or has there just been so much lack of love that you're wondering, you know, you no longer trust that the person is faithful? This is not saying that there has been cheating in the relationship, but it's just there's no bond between you that causes you to trust and have faith. So this is one that is suggesting that, yeah, this is a relationship that there is no reason to give more chances to this person. And it's just a mismatch in terms of what the partner is able to give and what your needs are. So I hope that was helpful. I always end by saying, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If some of this really does not seem true at all or to apply, find the nugget there that does give you something to hang on to. Okay? And the key card to me here in this reading is stand your ground. So in order to have a relationship that is more the way you want it to be, there is some growth that has to happen within you to be able to speak up for what you need calmly and clearly, because this type of person is not going to respond to emotional outbursts. This type of person is going to respond, if at all, to reason. Okay, thank you for being here, and I'm going to now go on to the second stack of cards. All right, welcome to stack of cards number 2 in this pick-a-pile reading on the question, should I stay or leave? And you selected this deck based on the base chakra card. And in the first deck of cards, I really didn't say too much about the chakra, but I feel moved to say something about this chakra card in that it is really a card and a chakra of your sense of your right to be here, your sense of safety, personal safety and security. So let's see what these cards have for you. And we have another major arcana card. In this case, it's called Sacrifice. Another second major arcana card in this deck called Temptation. We have Rest and Rejuvenate. We have Material and Spiritual Prosperity. Let's see if I can move this guy a little farther over. Yeah, I find this to be a really interesting deck. And I tend to to let it be its own animal and not really relate it to traditional tarot imagery. Okay, and we end up with a major arcana card, Truth, in this particular deck. Okay, you've got 3 major arcana cards, so this is leading me to say to you that in this relationship that you're currently asking about, lots of lifelong lessons, karmic lessons are being played out. So karmic lesson, does that have to always mean something bad? Does it have to mean punishment? No, it just means that this relationship has been playing out more than the average relationship. Lifelong lessons that you have come here to Earth to learn about and work out. Okay, so let's take these cards one by one. In fact, let's just grab all 3 of these, I say. All 3 of the major arcana cards. And let's look at them as they are in this deck. So this relationship is likely to have required or asked from you sacrifice. And I really love this mysterious image of it. It's sacrifice, but it's also with beauty. It's also, with the rainbow. I haven't looked into this specific image, but this almost looks like an image of the sacrifice of Hawaiian goddess Pele. Okay? But it's sacrifice with beauty at the end of it. Okay, so we've got sacrifice, we have temptation. So likely in this relationship, because you are not satisfied in the relationship, it's very likely that you've been tempted in some directions, which you may or may not have gone along with. So this is a reading where if perhaps you are the person who stepped out in the relationship, or you are the person who has other options in the relationship, the final card that we're going to get to at the end of this stack of cards is Truth. So if we take only the major arcana cards and read the 3 of these together, then we're looking at a story of personal sacrifice in this relationship, the desire as a result of this sacrifice, as a result of, I want to read something in this card about sacrifice that required sacrifice of things that you find beautiful in life, things that you find valuable. It could have almost been the sacrifice of your artistic or creative nature, which may have led you to temptation in various ways in the relationship. Temptation to do things that were not part of the agreement that you made with your romantic partner. And now we've got 3 cards before the next major arcana card shows up. And so these are going to tell the story of what is going to happen before truth plays its hand. So what are we saying here? We have to read these 3 cards to find out how truth is going to manifest itself. So is this a truth that you need to tell and come clean to your partner? Is there going to be a greater truth about the entire scope of the relationship where you will find some things which you did not know? Let's find out. Okay, so the first one is a suggestion that at this point you need to take a step back and rest, be quiet, come away from all of the interesting activities that you may have been pursuing outside of your marriage or as a secret from your love relationship, be it marriage, be it a relationship of some kind. There are things that you have been doing just to preserve your sense of self that have been going on without the knowledge of your partner. And all of this may have been very exciting, but now you've got to figure out what's important to you when it comes to whether you're going to stay in this relationship, in your primary relationship, or whether it is time to leave. Okay, so first there has to be a period of quiet reflection. What does this all mean to you? Maybe separate yourself from some of these temptations that you have been pursuing or considering to pursue. Okay, among the things that you have given up are things that affect your material and your spiritual well-being. And it's almost like you've been waiting through these temptations, through these things that you've done that were not part of what you and your romantic partner had agreed on. You've been feeding yourself, but you've been in this state of suspended animation. You've been in this state where nothing's really moving forward. Nothing's moving forward the way you need and want it to, for the health of the relationship also. So I feel like when one person is giving up a lot, when one person's giving up too much, that's the story of these cards. So we come finally to this truth card. So what is the truth that needs to be told here? Through this process of taking some time out, before you spill any beans, before you start telling any truth, think of what's most important to you. Is it important to you that you continue to give in to these temptations, whatever they may be? Are all of these temptations important to pursue? What is the thing that you really cannot live without? And that's the truth that needs to be told here. And as you look at this image, you're looking at the balancing of scales. Okay, so this person is standing on one end of the scales, and this person is dressed for travel, dressed for a journey. So will this person take the next step, and then the next step out into the beyond, the total beyond, way past this relationship? Or is this something that where you can take the journey together? So truth is the operative card here. And the truth that needs to be told is your own truth. But what part of the truth needs to be told? You're going to find that out here when you reconsider and put all the pieces back together. As always, take what resonates in this reading and leave the rest. The other thing that I have to say about this particular stack of cards is that take a little time to consider what was said in this reading, because I think certain things that may not be making sense to you will make sense a little bit later. So give it some thought. suspect that not everything in this stack is immediately going to make sense. What are these temptations? This is not necessarily cheating on your partner. This is not necessarily doing something horrible and terrible. It's just keeping, I feel, a lot of secrets because you have felt like you had to hide parts of yourself in order to make this relationship work. And then before we go, let me just come back to this base chakra card because I think this is an important key in this stack of cards. It's more so than any of the other stacks of cards in this reading. Your base sense of your identity and who you are and what you were put here on earth to be is something you've been struggling with. You need to be able to be your full self and be accepted in order to stay in this relationship. All right, thank you for being with me. I hope some of this reading has been helpful to you, and I'm going to go along to the third stack of cards. All right, stack number 3. This deck of cards is anchored by the heart chakra card. And here they are. We're reading on the question, should I stay or leave? And we're looking at this from the aspect of not should I stay or leave my job, or should I stay or leave other situations. This is specifically for a romantic relationship that you are currently in and not sure whether you want to continue in it. Okay, the black cards in this deck, which is the Psychic Tarot, are representing the major arcana cards in the tarot deck, and as such, they're going to have a more important significance when it comes to your actual life path and not just the current situation. See what else I might want to tell you about this. We are looking at 3 of what would be the suit of cups in a traditional tarot deck. So this, more so than either of the 2 stacks of cards I've read so far, is really related to the topic of love instead of the topic of abuse of power, which the other 2 readings were. So first stack of cards was abuse of power, perhaps by your partner, and the second stack of cards was the querent, the person I'm reading for herself, being the one who was having to be deceptive in order to survive, in order to live. This one is talking more generally about love. Okay, and then we have one card that would be represented in the traditional tarot deck by the Suit of Swords. Okay, so we've got 2 major arcana cards. We've got 1 sword in the traditional tarot deck, and we have 3, which would be cups. So as I look at this right now, I'm saying, don't leave your relationship, because this is fundamentally a really good relationship. Let's find out what the difficulties are according to this reading. All right, so as I said in the previous piles of cards, I'm reading these images as they come up. I'm not going to try to relate them to a traditional tarot deck. So here we have the major arcana card called Shadow. And this is, we're looking at the light and the dark self. But as you look at the card, both of them are good. They're just different aspects of the same personality. So this is leading me to feel that in this relationship, you and your significant other are psychic twins in a way, but you're opposites of each other. So this is an opposites attract relationship, I'm feeling. So let's see what else this has to say. So because this is a major arcana card, I'm also led to say that you may have throughout your life tended to attract opposite people to you as your friends, as your love relationships. And so this feeling of opposites is something that you may have seen play out many times during your life. And that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, we also have the Major Arcana card 3, Fertility. This would, or I am going to bring in a little bit of the traditional tarot deck here, because in the traditional tarot deck, this would be the Empress card. So majority of my clients and people who view my readings here on YouTube are women. So I'm also going to go out on a limb here and say that it is likely that you tend to be in charge of your relationships. And if you are not in charge of your relationships, you are less happy. So it's important to you that you be the queen in your relationships. Okay, so these are just ways you came into the world. And remember, the chakra card that you chose this pile from is the heart chakra. So in order for your heart to be happy and this chakra to be open and you to feel fulfilled, you like to be with someone who is opposite to you, and you need to be the queen in your castle. So conflict and defeat, what's been going on here? Let's find out, because the rest of these cards are so positive. They're saying, just quickly to go through it, they're saying you have so many memories of love with this person. You may have even memories of love with this person that go beyond this lifetime. This is the Marriage card. You have this strong meeting of the minds together. You are linked together. And I'll hold these cards in close up in a minute. I'm just quickly going through them. And then you've got 9, which would be the 9 of Cups. And I'll hold this up so you can see it as well. But this is just such a card of all good things. And the imagery in this card is very different and beautiful. So let's go back to that in a second. But what's the current problem? So this is basically an ideal, beautiful relationship that has had one significant bad thing happen. So if you're here for this reading, should I stay or leave? Something unexpected from your partner has happened. It's shocking to you. You cannot believe that this has happened. You feel betrayed in some form, and we won't even get into it. You know, was it, did your partner cheat on you? Did your partner tell a significant lie where he has never lied to you before? Something really difficult has happened, and now you're reeling from it. So this reading is giving you really a different take on it, because it's saying your history together is much more important than whatever it is that has happened. Cherish the memories of love. Rebuild your relationship from the love you have. Everything in this reading is telling me that your partner, beyond wishes, your partner wants to put this back together. You are the queen in his world, as evidenced here. So this is a beautiful representation of the two of you. Now, whether you be a male-female partner, a female-female partner, you know, whatever the sexuality involved, this image is the same. It's the fact that you both are looking in the same direction. You both feel and think of love as the same thing. You're both in agreement with what you feel love should be and what love has been to the two of you. So we wrap it up with the final card. And here we have the fulfillment of wishes. So whatever it is that has happened does not destroy anything that went before. And here we have this beautiful goddess. Again, you still are the queen. You still are the #1 person in your partner's life. And then you have this beautiful chest that's open with light coming out of it, that everything you have dreamed of and wanted is still in this relationship for you. So I hope this has been helpful. I always say with every reading, take what applies to you and leave the rest. I hope that you've received something encouraging from this reading, because all signs from it are saying that you are with your ideal partner. You could not want, there is not a better partner out there for you. But in life, especially in long relationships, something happens to test both of your commitment to each other. But stay. This is where you should be. Okay, I hope you found this reading helpful, and I'm going to now move on to the fourth stack of cards. Okay, here we are. Final stack, 4 of cards, and you chose this card based on perhaps just the color yellow or the solar plexus chakra, which is your seat of power, your seat of empowerment. So let's see what these cards have to say to us. The question is, should I stay or leave? Let's see which cards we have here. Firm foundation, discontent and boredom, patience, hope, passion ignited, and harmony. All right, well, these are very good cards if you are feeling that you wish you could stay in this relationship, but you're uncertain. And it looks like the main uncertainty here is just kind of boredom with your partner. Okay, you have a firm foundation with this person, but one or both of you is just feeling kind of like, is this all there is? In the middle of this reading, we have 2 major arcana cards. So let's just quickly go through, wow, we have 3. Okay, let's quickly go through what we have here before going into depth, because we've got 3 major arcana cards here, which means 3 cards that speak to your greater life purpose. Okay, and then just for anyone who's interested, let's just review that if this were a traditional tarot deck, we would be looking at 1 Pentacles card, we would be looking at 1 Cups card, and we would be looking at 1 Wands card. But I'm going to read these as if they're their own animal. So that was just a little added information in case anybody was interested in that. So since we have 3, fully half of this spread is major arcana cards. Let's see what we have here. So in this deck, we're looking at a card called Patience. And the woman depicted in this card is holding a seed. And she's actually waiting for the seed to grow in her hand. So that's a lot of patience, right? To have something like that happen. And then we have the second major arcana card is called Hope. And once again, so in all of these 3 major arcana cards, what I find interesting about it is the hands, the open hands are very prominent here. So now hope is in your hands. So you're waiting for something to grow, and then this illumination is happening when you keep your hands lifted. When you're open, in other words, to receive. So staying open to receive. And then the final of the major arcana card, what is happening? Now the romantic couple have pressed their hands together as one. They're receiving each other. All right, so let's go read these in sequence and see what's going on here. So if you are really feeling like you don't want to stay and you're feeling like maybe you should go, this stack of cards is trying to convince you to give it a little more time. So you have with your partner a strong economic foundation. this card is saying. So money is not the problem. You have a feeling of security within your relationship. It's likely that both of you are secure in your careers. You are good at handling money. That's not an issue. But with all you have, one or both of you is feeling like, you're turning away from everything you have. So this is a life you have, or maybe this is the life is greener on the other side, and you already have a beautiful castle, but you're turning away. You feel like what you have is not enough. Maybe you're feeling like the view is better someplace else. So have you acted on this yet? I don't think you have. I don't think either of you have. But you're just going through one of those rough patches where the thrill is gone. You're just not feeling that excited anymore. Okay? So then these major cards are leading me to feel that for you, the person who's asking the question, you who are here, not your partner, but for you, excitement plays an important role in your life. And over again, throughout this lifetime, you are finding that it's hard for you to stick with things. Something always seems more exciting someplace else. So if that's you, this relationship is part of your chance to learn that sometimes it's worthwhile to stick around a little while longer. And that if you're bouncing from person to person, or you're bouncing from situation to situation, you're bouncing sometimes from job to job, what are you going to have at the end of it? And so if you're here with me now, it's likely that you've lived enough life that maybe you're starting to think, is the excitement worth it? And what will I end up with if I keep jumping? Okay, so this is saying, have patience, even though patience is not your strong suit. Patience may not be the thing that you're best at. But have patience, because the excitement is coming back. And how do we also know that? Because we have passion ignited in this particular deck. This is what this card is called in this particular deck. So we're going with this. So look, the heart is coming back. The excitement is coming back. And I love too, when we relate these two cards to each other, I don't know if you can see this, but there's you. There's a human figure in the middle of all of this light. And it's you in all your glory, receiving everything that you wanted to have. The excitement comes back. The excitement of every day comes back. The boredom is gone. And there's a human figure also in this card. So here we have your heart. Here we have your heart and your ecstasy of being alive and being part of this relationship. And then here's your soul in the middle with upraised arms. And here you come back to a deeper sense of relationship, a deeper sense of communion, and bringing each other the next steps of the way. Always growing together, always going deeper, always feeling more of, I hate this word, I never say it, but this is a soulmate reading.